And 3, 2, 1, action!
How's it going, sir? Congratulations on this
dude?
film. It is unbelievably kick-ass.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks so much.
To go back to the beginning of this, I mean, I know how detail-oriented you are as you are just building out any script, but I am curious, just from the first draft that you wrote to what we see in the finished cut, which character would you say just kind of like fundamentally changed the most?
Bird. Oh, for God's sake.
Probably Bloodsport, you know?
Okay.
In some ways, I think Bloodsport, you know, I think that his story in some ways is actually the most complete in the movie. I think that, you know, it's a tale of this hyper masculine guy who has those values of hyper masculinity. We might even say toxic masculinity. And he learns how to be a better person through being more vulnerable and embracing those parts of himself. And I think it's a pretty strange thing is to have as the center of your superhero story, because that isn't really the usual lesson that you're really learning from the superheroes on screen. And he is, you know, one of the central protagonists, if not the central protagonist. And to learn that vulnerability is the way to defeat the demon is an unusual thing.
I'm gonna get you out of here alive.
I'm going to get you out of here alive.
How far did you go as far as mapping out his weapons? Because he uses such an awesome variety of them, and he's like all over his uniform. So kind of what was the process with that?
It was really, really hard because also I kept changing who Idris was. I wrote the role for Idris and he changed a number of times. And so by the time we got to Bloodsport, we're a couple months out, and it was an incredibly difficult balancing act between me in terms of the writing of figuring out what weapons are used when and how, and what part of his body the shots are going to be on. And then, you know, Judiana Makovsky, who had to make the costume, and Drew, who had to make the props. And so the three of us would have to get together every 2 days and sort of say, oh no, that doesn't work there because we're actually shooting from the other side of the screen at that time. So we got to move that over there. But oh, if we move that there, then that side's going to be too bulky because that's where the flamethrower is. So you got to move the flamethrower over there. It was complicated, you know, and then to get into each of the little pieces. And then I didn't want them to be just, you know, these magic balls that change. I wanted them to actually be able to physically transform. And so that becomes very, very difficult.
Well, it looks crazy awesome.
Let's get it.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
I actually just want to ask about the post-credit scene, and specifically the Peacemaker one. That change is a big thing in the film. I'm hoping you talk about that decision, and also, was Peacemaker the series ever thought of as a prequel, maybe?
I did. I thought of it as a prequel. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I hate prequels. So I wanted to continue to tell his story. And I thought that I wasn't really interested in seeing who Peacemaker was before all of this, because he's a real piece of work.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
You know, a lot of the other characters get pretty deep change in this movie where they become much different people by the end of this situation than from beforehand. Whereas Peacemaker doesn't. He actually becomes a little worse. And so I was just interested to see where he came from, how he became that person, and where he could go from there. And so that we've got this incredibly great ensemble show, which is not only him, it's also, you know, Jennifer Holland is Amelia Harcourt, who's in the movie, and Steve Agee is John Economos. They're two major characters. And then his friendship with Danielle Brooks' character, who's the complete political opposite of his. So it's also a chance, there's sort of an all in the family thing happening with the with the politics in the show. So it's really been just an absolute joy to make the TV show.
Very cool, man. Well, I am so excited to see it. And again, congratulations on this film. I'm excited for everybody to see this.
It's a beacon of freedom.